introduce to you Vera Falstaff.
Do I start then we in Budapest in the 1944 had to put on the yellow star, all the Jews of the town, and suddenly the whole town looked as if there were people with yellow flowers on their badges. The street was full of them. Or when I was a schoolgirl and the first Julos came in, or even before that. It is the pogroms of the whole 19th or 18th century. No, I think I begin at the point where a railway station in a small town in the Hungarian-Austrian border, where hundreds of people were cordoned off, waiting for transport to an unknown destination. Men and women, babies and sick people from hospitals with suitcases, parcels, baby puppies, rich or poor, old or young, all the Jewish population of not just that town, but from whole Hungary who were shifted to these various collection places. Not all of them were Jewish even. There were many people who were born Christian, but their parents were Jewish, or two grandparents were Jewish, that was enough. Two grandparents could ruin your career, 3 or 4 grandparents were lethal. You could die because of them. So, and of course, in that particular group where I was, there were also Jews, but apart from them, gypsies and homosexual people and disabled people, learning difficulties, they were all collected by the Germans to do away with them. Now, back to the station. We were cordoned off from the part of the station, and we just stood there waiting what's going to happen. I must tell you at this stage that nobody had the slightest idea about concentration camps or Auschwitz or any mass killing which went on. In the 1940s, you would be surprised when I tell you what we missed the most. Think. What did we miss the most in those times? Information. Absolutely no information. The newspapers were local newspapers. The radio, few people had very good sets. But of course it was forbidden to listen to foreign stations. So in the middle of the night, the family and a few friends were sitting around and listened to BBC, mostly. Nobody really knew what was happening. So there were rumors about nasty things happening in Germany, but of course nobody believed it. That was the middle of the 20th century. We were a civilized nation, Germans were a civilized nation, and how? I mean, we all learned German in school and we all looked up at their achievement. The ideas that they are burning people and creating massacres was, they simply don't accept it. I was in the station near the cordon behind. So the curious thing was that these people, as I told you, from baby in arms, in fact that was a woman who gave birth a few hours ago, all these people were totally silent. You could hear a pin fall on the floor, not a word, even the babies kept quiet. The fear totally made everybody dumb. Nobody would say a word. And behind me, outside of the cordon, there were locals who came to see the sights and see the spectacle. And one woman behind me asked the other one, "Why are they so silent?" And her friend said, "Well, obviously they know that they are guilty, that's why. Then the train arrived. Now, those who are interested in this topic must have heard about these trains. They were cattle transport things, nothing inside, just the box with a big door. Many of them had no windows either, and people were pushed in, shoved in by the guards who were guards. As I said somewhere else, torture, the simplest way to torture people is to put them into a place where there is not enough room for them. We were near to each other like sardines, still not a word. After a while, they slammed the door and put a piece of wood outside so that we couldn't get out. And the train started. A baby cried for a while and then it stopped. And it was then, of course, the voice of people came back and was a buzz and a conversation and a talk and a lot of crying and shouting. We were in this train for 3 days. Now, it had one window, 2 windows, high up out of our reach with bars. And in between the bars were interwoven branches, so that it was quite dark. We couldn't have seen out even if it wasn't so high. So 3 days. Now I was very lucky, exceptionally lucky, because I lost my conscience fairly early, and only came to very near when we arrived. Next to me happened to be a religious Jewish young man, an Orthodox young man with ringlets. And he was horrified to be so near to a woman, to a young woman. I mean, it is strongly forbidden to do this. And I remember his horror of perhaps touching me. But he then gave me took out the flask and gave me at a crucial point, gave me a few drops of some alcohol. But anyhow, I said I was mostly unconscious. We stopped occasionally outside of towns, meadows, near meadows, and they let out the people to relieve themselves. But it wasn't very often, and of course not a drop of water and not a bite of food during these 3 days. Now the roof was of corrugated iron, and it was August. So you can imagine the conditions. When we arrived, a few were dead. They threw out the dead first, and then the rest of us streamed out of the coach. Everybody has heard about the entrance of Auschwitz with a script, with a legend on the door saying that Arbeit macht frei, work is freedom, which was really almost a bad joke. I had no idea where we were. It stopped half dead. We stumbled out of the wagon, and I saw people in uniform coming and sorting us out. Men go here, women go there, women with children go there, and very quickly and very efficiently, like somebody who has practiced it for a very long time, they sorted us out. Now, I was in a group or a queue rather of women. Then there was a queue of men and there was a queue of mothers with children. You can imagine that this didn't go on silently. People screamed and protested when couples were separated from each other. And the children screamed, and a bit of a chaos, but it wasn't quite a chaos because I said the Germans were immensely efficient and knowledgeable and knew how to do the job.